We got some breaking news out of Massachusetts. When we see it, you see it. And look here, a rescue mission underway right now to free a worker. We understand that worker is trapped waist deep in coal, heavy coal, on a freight train car. This is in Bridgewater, about 30 miles away from Boston. Authorities believe the worker is going to be okay, but as you can see here, they are working this not only from the ground, but also from the sky. How many ladders? One, two, about 5 ladders there. That puts people up on the edge of that container. But then also at the top, you can see they have another firefighter at the end of a boom truck. Looks like they're going to be dropping something down in that, whether they've got that worker harnessed to something so that once they can get the weight of that coal from around his waist, they can then hoist him up or pull him up and get him to safety. We understand that the guy's going to be okay there, but this is a tricky business there. For all intents and purposes, he is in a trench of coal inside that rail car right now, so they have to go very slow. One wrong move, the coal on his left or right in front of him, behind him, could collapse and further entrench him inside that coal. So it's going to be a long afternoon here. Crews are standing by. They want to be able to get him to a hospital as soon as possible. They're obviously looking at blood flow around his legs and his lower extremities. Oftentimes in these rescue situations, they very quickly put blood pressure monitors and heart monitors on these people who are in these situations, whether they are trench rescues or rescues inside train cars where that coal is around the person. But that is what they're going to be doing while they monitor his health and while emergency workers work to get him hoisted out. We'll go back to this as the situation merits. Once again, a worker trapped by a coal car right there in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. I want to get you back out to that breaking news in Massachusetts. A rescue mission underway to free a worker trapped waist deep in a stack of coal inside of a freight train car. This is in Bridgewater, about 30 miles away from Boston. You are seeing it as it's playing out in real time here on the stream. So down in the middle of all of that coal is a worker who is trapped. There's a good news headline here. The people who are there working to get this person out say he's going to be okay. However, this is tricky business right now. They have to use all of this equipment to pull him out. And once they hoist him out, they have to make sure that the coal on all sides of him doesn't collapse back down on him. So as you can see here, they've got crews on ladders, crews on boom trucks above them, using a lot of different equipment to try to get him out. You see that very large hose there? Those are often used in trench rescues to keep debris away from the person who's trapped. So a lot of technology here deployed and a lot of people there, not only the people on those ladders, but the people who are down in that trench inside that rail car with him, risking their own lives to save a life. We'll continue watching this and bring you more updates. Hopefully during this broadcast, we can bring you a success story and show how our emergency workers once again are heroes in this rescue situation. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to take you back to that breaking news situation. The world is watching via our streaming broadcast as rescuers work to pull a man out who is trapped waist deep in coal inside a train car. We'll show you that on CBS News 24/7 when we come back. I want to get back to that breaking news out of Massachusetts. Rescue mission underway right now to free that worker who's trapped waist deep in some heavy coal inside of a freight train car. To sort of orient you to where this is in Bridgewater, about 30 miles away from Boston. Now, authorities believe that worker will be okay. But let's go in tight right now and show you what we are able to see from our camera crews. We do not know if the person who's being hoisted out right now is that worker or if perhaps that is somebody going in to rescue the worker. Let's just hang on that for just a second and see what we can see. You can see somebody there being pulled out, legs moving. I would bet that that is the worker and that is evidence of the fact that a lot of fast response by people there in that Massachusetts area, right there at that rail car, has equaled the fact that they were able to get this person out. Good sign there when you see him moving his legs just a little bit, but obviously you see the stretcher there at the bottom of the screen. That stretcher is awaiting him to be placed there. Now, while we watch this play out on live television, we just want to take you back in time just a little bit. That rail car came to a stop, and for whatever reason, that worker was inside that rail car that was carrying some pretty heavy coal. At one point, the sidewalls of the coal collapsed and surrounded him waist deep there. Called for help, and help came. You can see so many people. They put ladders up. Can we go tighter on that? Because this is that moment where a person is being hoisted right there onto that stretcher. So these helpers came, and they were able to get him out using a lot of heavy equipment. At one point, we even saw a vacuum sort of mechanism that was able to vacuum that coal off of him. But as we look here live at this video from a helicopter, it looks like that was indeed the person that so many people have risked their own lives to get out of this situation. This is really not unlike some trench rescues that we see at construction sites all around the United States. You have a worker, you have loose materials around the worker, and then those materials give way. And so quite often we see what we saw play out in trench rescues, only this time they've had to do it inside a rail car. So now, of course, the next chapter of this story, how is the worker and what will the future of that worker be? We'll continue following up on that. Our partners at CBS Boston have many crews there on the scene. But of course, all of our focuses right now is on the person who is on that stretcher and on the way to the hospital to get help there in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. CBS News 24/7 continuing to have our eyes on this community in Massachusetts, Bridgewater, Massachusetts. We've been following the story of the person who is now on a stretcher about to be put in an ambulance. That person, if we were to rewind our tape, you would see that person trapped inside a rail car, knee deep in some pretty heavy coal, when that loose material gave way and trapped this person. Now this person is on a stretcher headed towards an ambulance. We do not know the condition. However, we see the person is at least sitting in upright position. Just a moment ago, we were able to see that shot of him being hoisted out of that rail car, and we did see some movement. But once again, worker rescued after being trapped by coal on that train car in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Now the next chapter of his story is to be inside that ambulance and taken to a hospital. And so many first responders saving the day once again in these United States. Let's get back to that breaking news that comes to us out of Massachusetts. Rescue crews have just freed that worker who was trapped waist deep in a coal pile on a freight train. This was in Bridgewater, which is about 30 miles away from Boston. CBS News Boston's Christina Rex is live at the scene. She has the very latest. Christina, what do you know on the ground? We've been watching that rescue attempt all hour on the stream. Understand that person was just put on a stretcher and taken to the hospital.
Yeah, Reed, we're just learning that person, we did see him exit in an ambulance. He was taken from that ambulance, put on a chopper, appears to be being flown to a hospital. But it does appear that after a very scary 4 or so hours, that all might have ended well. The business owner tells me that man was alert and seemed to be talking the whole time and was okay. My photographer witnessed the same thing. Want to show you behind me now just kind of where that was happening. This is the ground view. You can see the ladder there. That is around the area. The chopper view was probably better overhead. That's around the area where this rescue happened. The fire chief coming out right now, expected to give us an update in a minute. But here's what we do know. That man who works here at this brick making facility appears to be okay and alert. He is being brought to the hospital. He was stuck there for more than 4 hours. I just want to take you over right now. The fire chief is coming here with a brief update.
All right, you've been listening to that news conference regarding that worker trapped in a train car in a pile of coal there. Some Massachusetts muscle and a great deal of heart pulling out one of their own right outside that brick plant. That train car had that worker on the inside. The coal collapsed at his waist, and that began the frantic rescue effort that you saw play out here on CBS News 24/7. Hey, that's what we do here. When we see it, you see it. That's what this broadcast is all about. Our thanks to our reporter from CBS Boston, one of our partners there, our CBS network of partners, who was able to tee up that news conference and tell us how this happened, where it happened, and then give us those experts who were able to tell the nation who's been watching that in real time during this broadcast that worker came out, was able to move his legs, went out smiling, and looks to be okay. That's how they get it done in Massachusetts. That's how we do it here on CBS News 24/7. Stay tuned. Coming up, you'll be able to see President Biden speaking about his victory lap, investing in America. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, streaming.